for a lot of people, this is a great buying opportunity. Bitcoin trading in the 80s, 80,000 is it's 30% cheaper than it was a month ago. It really is a sort of a Black Friday discount price for people who want to get involved or who want to, dollar average price their position downwards and accumulate more.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Bradley Duke. He's European head at Bitwise Asset Management. Bradley, very good to speak with you. November has been a bit of a disaster for Bitcoin, currently around $87,000. And that's after starting the month around $110,000. What's happened? What's caused this?
Right. Well, yeah, it's a disaster for some. It's also a buying opportunity for others. It's really just in the it depends on your time horizons. Are you a long-term holder or you're a short-term speculator? And I think that actually plays into the whole narrative of what's been going on. So the cause was really what initiated the sell-off was on the 10th of October. President Trump tweeted quite late on a Friday. I think actually markets were closed or closing in the US. But of course, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies trade 24/7. So they were able to, unfortunately take the brunt of the sell-off. So Trump tweeted out about imposing, I think it was like 100% tariffs in China, and really an escalation in the trade war. And of course, nobody wanted to hear that. And there was a massive sell-off, and people sold what risk assets they could sell. And yeah, and as I mentioned, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies trading 24/7 was sold off really, really sharply. And so that was, and let's not forget, this was from against the backdrop of Bitcoin trading around all-time highs at around 124, 126,000 was, that those previous weeks that had been trading as those levels. And there was this optimism about, Bitcoin pushing forward and moving to new highs. But of course, this triggered a reversal. So then what happened after that was quite interesting. We had some long-term holders, people who've because Bitcoin is a blockchain, you can track wallets and see these are people who've invested, have been holding for a long time, they haven't sold. So a lot of people, a lot of holders, long-term holders were selling just to take profits because had reached a new time high. But this morphed in because of this sort of panic selling, that short-term holders started to really their selling started to really spike up through this period, and that of course exacerbated the downward trend. And that's basically where we are now. It's kind of sort of stabilized. It kept on going down. It went actually down to the low 80s, and now has recovered in the last few days up to 87, 88,000, where we're trading at the moment.
Bradley, any idea of who might be stepping in and starting to buy Bitcoin? And we spoke previously about institutional buying supporting the market. Are you seeing buyers coming into the market at this level?
Yes, well, we've seen some interesting data. Firstly, the global Bitcoin ETP flows have continued to grow. They've sort of tapered off a bit of late, but there has been this, that's been one of the major one of the main buyers in Bitcoin. The other main buyer that we had talked about was these Bitcoin treasury companies. That's also tapered off with the price action of late. So they're still there. They're still buying. We've also seen some statistics with whales. That's people holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin buying into this dip. Seeing this as a buying opportunity. And as I mentioned right at the beginning, we've had a lot of investors who have come to us, and when we've been talking to them about Bitcoin, they often have said to us, well, we feel like we've missed the boat. Bitcoin is, when it was over 100,000, wish we had invested early, and so that we could be part of this, this march upwards that we've seen in the Bitcoin price since inception. And so I think for a lot of people, this is a great buying opportunity. Bitcoin trading in the 80s, 80,000 it's 30% cheaper than it was a month ago. It really is a sort of a Black Friday discount price for people who want to get involved or who want to, dollar average price their position downwards and accumulate more. So really, it depends about whether you're a long-term holder and you're here and you believe that you've got conviction for Bitcoin in the long term, if you're a short-term speculator, and that really is how the investor groups are primarily divided.
I mean, we had some pretty lofty expectations for Bitcoin by year end, particularly from the likes of Cathie Wood from ARK Investments. Do you see it stabilizing as we head towards the end of the year, Bradley?
So yeah, well, this is an interesting point, of course, and as we said before, no one can really see into the future or know where it's going. But what we can look at is what past performance looked like, and we have seen that there is a cumulative seasonality to Bitcoin in terms of ETP flows, and that they typically spike towards the end of the year, especially in December. And so that's that. I'm expecting that there will be upward movement in the price in the month of December because of this historical, cumulative seasonality where people tend to accumulate more Bitcoin through global ETPs. So we're talking European and US ETPs in the month of December.
Let's see if anybody digs into those Black Friday specials coming up from tomorrow, Bradley. Thank you, as always, for your insights.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
That's Bradley Duke. He's European head at Bitwise Asset Management.